Hello, I'm Jenny Marklew, Green Parliamentary candidate for Milton Keynes North. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. After George Osborne's budget today, I thought I'd quite like to get my thoughts out there. I thought this might be a really good way to do it. So, I found George Osborne's budget today really gimmicky. I was really disappointed. Not that I expected it to be anything else, but I was really disappointed with the content of his budget. It was all, geared up to what's happening, the general election, and it felt like he was pandering to people that might be on the fence rather than thinking about what's actually best for this country and what the people of this country really need. It's a big problem with politics. It's all about collecting votes. It's all about appealing to the biggest number of voters. And so young people are disenfranchised because they're seen as not as likely to vote. And so why would a party tailor its policies to young people if they're not going to vote for them? And it means that the minorities within our society aren't represented adequately. When actually quite often they're the people that need a strong government and strong policies most to ensure that we have an equal society and to ensure that they are being treated the way they should be. This budget hasn't addressed the legitimate concerns and issues that we're facing. There are three main things I really wanted to pick up on within the budget that really concerned me. And the first being the tax breaks for North Sea oil companies. We should be incentivising low carbon jobs. These tax breaks should have been going to companies that aren't digging fossil fuels out of the ground and burning them, and therefore contributing to the huge problem that we have with climate change at the moment. We should be investing this money in things like renewable energy sources or sustainable business models or insulating homes, perhaps, which addresses all sorts of issues, including fuel poverty, which is probably one of the main reasons they're suggesting we give tax breaks to North Sea oil companies. It demonstrates that this government isn't serious about tackling climate change, which is really concerning for a lot of people because the evidence is almost at the point where it's overwhelming, that our governments don't seem to be doing anything. They're pushing back and forward between each other. Well, if you're not doing it, I'm not doing it. That's how it feels. This is a much bigger issue than that. We have to be leading by example. We have to be saying we're taking climate change seriously for the future of our children. For the future of our planet, not just human beings, everything. And there was some research that suggested that 2/3 of fossil fuels should be left in the ground. We shouldn't be burning them. Yet this is exactly the opposite. This is encouraging digging up oil. I don't understand where his priorities lie. I suspect it's with I don't know. I can't understand his thinking behind that one. The next one that's really quite close to my heart is housing. And I'm nearly 30 and I don't own my own home. I can't own my own home. I can't afford to pay private rent and be able to save up for a house. In this budget, Osborne has suggested special first-time buyer ISAs, which will assist young people in saving up for their first home. I think he doesn't understand the situation most young people are in, most first-time buyers are in, where we don't have that money. We don't have the money to save. We're struggling to go month to month and pay our rent. We're not really in a position to be thinking about squirreling money away to pay the £10,000-20,000 deposit that we need to be able to buy our house. It doesn't help people like me who are unable to save. It doesn't help families who aren't really in a position to be saving for a house but need somewhere to live. Milton Keynes is one of the 6th most expensive places to live. And we have a huge number of families living in bed and breakfast because we do not have enough social housing. I didn't see anything about social housing in this budget, which has to be a priority, surely. We also have our housing developers in Milton Keynes. We have a minimum affordable housing requirement of 30%. It seems our developers are trying to cut that down to 11.5%. It's crazy. I don't understand. I don't understand what they think they're doing. No, actually, no, I do. But I'll go on to that later. Another thing that wasn't addressed is private renters who are locked out of being able to rent because they don't have a stable income because they're on 0-hour contracts. A lot of landlords won't accept people on housing benefit. We've got a culture where people live in a house and then a landlord can turf them out at any point within reason. People are trying to bring up families. People are trying to have a stable foundation for that family, and that's not viable in private rented accommodation. You're not getting a forever home most of the time. There's a huge amount of instability, insecurity there. And the final one, which is the only one anyone seems to think is all right, is alcohol duty. I don't really understand. Apparently this is like the 3rd consecutive budget where alcohol duty has been cut, but I think it's like a penny to the pound or something crazy like that. That's not going to help small breweries. That's not going to help small establishments, local pubs that aren't owned by big breweries. This is going to help big breweries. Those kind of numbers can only help people that are already making quite a lot of money. So the only people it's going to make any difference to. I don't understand it. And surely there are far more important things we should be addressing. The whole thing felt like a huge charade. It was a shameless plugging of 5 years in government where George Osborne was claiming that they had all of these successes. And the irony is, for most people, life has got worse. For most people, the standard of living has decreased whilst the cost of living has increased. For most people, we see our fellow citizens having to go to food banks to be able to feed themselves, having no security from 1 week to the next, 1 day to the next, because they're on 0-hour contracts. And that's not everyone's experience, but it's the experience of a lot more people than it should be. I mean, these are things that should not be happening in a modern society. I think we're like the 6th wealthiest nation in the world, but of the 32 OECD countries, we are the 6th most unequal. The Conservatives truly are the party of the 1%. They truly are. They've watched over the biggest rise in inequality in my lifetime that I remember. And here he is telling us about how fantastic they've made their country. And I think about the people that I know and the things that are going on around me. And I think you have failed so many people. You have let so many people down. I want a different kind of politics. I want a kind of politics that doesn't place value on income and GDP and things that don't take people's happiness into account at all. As a member of the Green Party, I believe we need to be changing our focus. We need to stop thinking about GDP. We need to stop thinking about growth, and we need to start thinking about how to have a happy, sustainable society. We need to be basing our success on how happy the people that live in this country are, not how rich Some of them are. We need an equal and fair society, and we don't have that. And the only party that I can see that isn't sticking with the austerity rhetoric is the Green Party. And that is why I am so proud to be a member and to be standing for that party. Because they are the party of the future. They are the party of the youth. They're the only people that are facing up to the really difficult decisions that we're going to have to be making over the next 10, 20, 50 years. That's it. Thanks. Bye.